more with your baseball authority.
Frank, you call me Bellyache and throw the ball to first base.
This is the Rob Dibble Show.
Well, with their hot June, as we do a daily pickle here and talk some MLB, Mets 15-4 in June get all the way back to 500. And they're now at 39-39, 13 games back of the Phillies, who have been on fire, 53-27. Braves, who have been kind of, since Acuna got hurt, going back and forth. Get hot, get cold, get hot, get cold. They're 8 games back at 44-34. But to get to this spot and this moment, after all the things they went through in April and May, you got to give them a lot of credit. They were beating teams they should be beating. Now they're beating over 500 teams. You start pummeling teams like you did, 21 runs in 2 games against Garrett Cole and Geel. By the way, Geel, till his last couple of starts, this guy had been nails. He was looking like he was going to the All-Star game.
Cy Young.
And all of a sudden, this guy, the wheels have fallen off. Now, there's 2 reasons for that. Now he's starting to go around the league for a second time, and everybody's got a book on this guy, and now he needs to make some adjustments, and he's young. And the fact that some of these teams now, these hitters are starting to figure out what they've been doing wrong for 2 months. The first 200 at-bats, the best advice you could ever get is don't let your first 200 at-bats dictate your last 400 at-bats. Don't struggle all year, 600 at-bats. That's a huge, long season. You can turn things around and turn your season around. And that's what a lot of these guys on the Mets have done. I mean, the key to this is guys like McNeil that should be hitting, Lindor, who should be hitting, are starting to be more consistent, driving in runs in scoring position, driving in runs with 2 outs, things that are actually baseball related. And I saw the lineup for the New York Yankees, and Gleyber Torres is not in it because they have to start benching guys that aren't producing. And some of these other teams do that, and that's a motivational tool that you use. You just don't give jobs to people. And even Verdugo, if he continues not to hit, you got to start thinking you might want to bring up a minor league guy and put him on the tail. They're going to let this Rice guy play now, let him play every day, get his at-bats, and see if this guy can hit until Anthony Rizzo comes back. But I think right now, one of the reasons that the Yankees are struggling, pitching. Bullpen is overworked, taxed. They come into games and they just throw gas on the fire. The starting rotation can't go 6 innings. That's putting pressure on the bullpen, and so it's just a meltdown of monumental proportions. Yes, they're still scoring runs, but there's only really a couple of guys that are hitting, and now with Stanton hurt. Stanton was having a good year. Stanton's hitting close to 250, 18 homers, 45 RBI. For that guy, that's good production for him. For Soto and Judge, yeah, they're perennial all-stars. We know they're going to hit. Everybody else has to start picking it up. I wasn't swayed by Volpe having a great April. I look at guys and say, if you have 3 great years, not 3 great months, not 3 great weeks, 3 great years in a row, then I'll start calling you a superstar. And so that's the kind of thing I've carried for the last 20 years. And so the Volpes, the Cabreras, the guys like that don't impress me that much unless you do it for 3 years.
They're going to Toronto for the next couple of days. It's a 4-game series, 7:07 first pitch right here on these stations. The Yankees should be in the buyer mode even earlier than most teams, and we'll see what they should do. There is a home run chase going on already. Aaron Judge with the 1 yesterday puts him at the 30 mark. I do this every year. It's basically the last 4 years minus last year that Aaron Judge is chasing some kind of greatness.
How's he chasing himself?
So
62.
Right, 2022. That's 2 years ago. That was the 62. He was at the 30 mark July 6th.
Wow, he's way ahead of schedule.
So he's about a week ahead of schedule already.
So if he hadn't been awful in April,
I was going to say that. And he missed a lot of games in April and early May. So he has
the toe, the oblique.
Such a tear lately. He is locked in. Again, it is a price of admission thing with Aaron Judge, his batting practice, and every at-bat. It's soon going to become must-see TV.
Like I said, his first 100 at-bats, don't let it dictate your last 500. So he has 6 home runs, 17 driven in, 220 average in the month of April. May, just starts crushing. 97 at bats, 14 homers, 27 driven in, hits 361. So far, 3 weeks into June, hitting 403 with a 517 on base percentage, 917 slugging. It's an impossible OPS of 1434, but he's got 24 home runs, 59 RBI, and hitting around 400 for May and June. Woo. So just because his first 100 at bats, he was hurting a little bit, probably not healthy at all, but he didn't say a word. Letting Juan Soto carry the team in April, this guy has been a monster for the last 2 months.
And he's beating the rest of the competition. It's always a lot of fun in a home run chase season in Major League Baseball when there's other people a part of the party. Gunnar Henderson at 26, Shohei at 25. The player of the week for the Los Angeles Dodgers is Bat Boy Javier Herrera.
He saved Shohei's ass last night.
Foul ball from Kike Hernandez.
Gotta watch the video, man, because that where you're watching the dugout at Dodger Stadium, it's a walk-up dugout. It's down in the ground. So Shohei's face is ground level when this shot comes off, the foul ball comes off towards the dugout, and the bat boy is standing on the top step and catches that ball right in front of his face. That would have been awful.
Barehanded, by the way.
Shohei better give that kid a Rolex.
I mean, if you let EP run around on you like you did,
steal $16 million from you. You at least have $16,000 to get the kid a stainless steel Rolex.
At least, or let's promote him to something like, I don't know, the guy who always watches Shohei's back. Give him $1 million a year.
Yeah. Bodyguard.
He needs a bodyguard, and Javier Herrera is that man. I thought that was the play of the week so far. Play for Major League Baseball. Imagine that. Just imagine that.
He saved Major League Baseball. Saved the All-Star game.
Yes.
Saved their face.
2024, Javier Herrera needs to be up for MVP of the National League. Second place behind Shohei. We got games in action already. We got some afternoon baseball. My Cubos are trying to scratch out a win against the Giants. Dude, I know no one cares about this series, but this is pathetic. Like, the Cubs have won every game except for in the ninth inning, and then they give it up to these stupid Giants.
They win 24 outs of every game, and then they can't win the last three.
Yes, it's because of bullpen pitching. And
the bullpen blues.
The bullpen blues have definitely struck Chicago. They're playing the Giants one more in a getaway game. Atlanta against the White Sox. A little bit later, we have what's going on with the Rangers? We talked about this yesterday. They are struggling.
They're champs, man.
They're
doing interviews. They're doing
drunk on their own success.
Magazine covers. They're the hottest thing down in Texas, and so everything's done a lot bigger down in Texas. It's like, we're supposed to play baseball. Hey, what about the Astros? They won 2 years ago. Look at them. They haven't played that well this year.
Well, they're taking on the Orioles.
Cruddy second baseman.
The Orioles are
taking advantage. Everybody. It's not just Gunnarsson. They lead both leagues in home runs.
Adley Rutschman's been playing great.
The Baltimore Orioles are getting it done, but they're still trailing those stinking Yankees.
Red Sox will stay at home on the weekend. They have got the Padres. They don't play today. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Same with the New York Mets. They're back at Citi Field against those dirty Astros. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Be a fun weekend of baseball.
It's going to be a great weekend of baseball. All eyes turn to baseball now because baseball's got their draft coming up, and right before the All-Star game, and you start seeing some of these kids that were in the College World Series, some of these other guys. But here's the thing. Some of those guys are old, too. I'm interested to see if the NBA draft or the MLB draft mirrors the NBA draft, where we're like, okay, if you're a COVID guy and you spend a couple extra years in college because you got the COVID year and that extra year of the post-grad stuff, are they going to take a shot on a 23-year-old? Exactly. I see you shaking your head.
No, it's not going to happen. Not in that sport, man. 23, 24, if you're not by double or AAA standards at that point, it's kind of a lost cause in the eyes of Major League Baseball. I hate to break it to you. Now, we shall see. I think you're going to get a lot of high school. You're going to get a lot of HS. You're going to get a lot of 18. You might even get 17-year-olds, especially in the first and second rounds. I mean, this slotted lottery, and there's not many picks. So, I would rather take my chances on something that's 17 instead of something that's 24. I mean, gosh, that's 7 years, 7-year difference. I think you were going to see a youth movement in Major League Baseball's draft.
Jordan Montgomery not pitching well for the Diamondbacks right now. In the second inning, he's given up a 6 spot, 7 hits, 6 runs. There were some errors made in this. His ERA is already at 6.12 on the season. So this guy signing late after winning the World Series with the Texas Rangers, 6-4 with a 5.7 now over 6 ERA. Feel bad for that guy, man. I mean, I thought that guy was going to get a long-term deal. His age maybe kind of played into that, but not getting a long-term deal. I have no problem with Blake Snell being crappy. I'm not a big fan of that guy. I think he's a big whiner. But what Jordan has done the last couple of years after getting, jettisoned off of the Yankees, I'm very happy for that guy. But that's a tough start for you. You're already looking at the shower in the second or third inning. We say save some hot water for the rest of us because he's not going to be out there much longer.
This is going to be a topic of discussion. I know it already was on several other radio shows when they talk baseball right now. And they're just looking at the home run chase and Shohei with the injury that he's playing through, with Judge that has played pretty decent lately but injured. Gunnar Henderson, we'll see. But are these guys going to forego the home run derby, or should they forego the home run derby when it comes to the All-Star break?
Well, you've got so many pitchers right now. As you're saying that, I'm reading, okay, you just placed Assad, your pitcher, on the IL with a bad forearm. You've got let's see, who else is hurt right here? Reliever Smith for the Mets, 15-day IL. Right-handed pitcher France on the Astros is undergoing shoulder surgery.
Yep.
These guys are getting hurt so much. Honestly, if I were a team, and I've said this for years because I used to cover it in the 90s and into the 2000s, the home run derby, I watched guys get hurt. I watched Jim Edmonds pull his groin when he was in Atlanta during the home run derby because he sat around and waited for a year. I didn't like the format then. I don't like it now. It's draining on these guys. And so I do know that it's in Texas. It's going to be air conditioned in there. If it were outside in Texas, you'd be like, it's 120 degrees out here. You could kill these guys. But no, I mean, listen, some of these guys, they love doing it, and they should continue to do it. Some of these other guys, like a Shohei, this guy's coming off of elbow surgery the second time in 5 years. 100,000% no.
He'll want to do it.
He'll want to do it.
He'll want to do it.
But if I'm the Dodgers and I have a $500 million invested in you, or what is it? Did he sign for $700 million? No, $500 million. $700 million? $700 million.
Yeah.
I got $700 million invested in you. You're not doing it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
But the reason we signed you was for the stardom as much as the baseball.
And you know what? We've been able to cover your ass with the whole gambling thing. Don't make us bring that back up. All of a sudden, we'll start leaking out some dirty laundry on you if you go against us.
But I bet on myself to win the home run derby.
Well, Ippy didn't. That's why Ippy's going to the federal pen for 30 years.
All-Star finalists are going to be announced tonight from Major League Baseball. I'm just interested to see where your guy Paul Skeens falls in the finalists.
I could see him going because if it were back when I played and there was only 50 going, that's a little bit more difficult. The fans are voting people in back then, and then it was up to the commissioner, presidents, when they had presidents of both leagues, and the managers would pick the pitchers. Now you have so much resting on social media. You're picking 64. Am I correct? It's 32 and 30. 64 guys now are on the team. Guys are going to pass because of injuries, or that will start on that Sunday or Monday. And so you're looking at like 70-plus guys. I could see Skeens getting put on there as an alternative guy. I don't see him getting picked straight up to get on the team.
Him and O'Neal Cruz are the two that I would give you from Pittsburgh, right, as far as guys off the top of my head that I know.
And O'Neal Cruz, I would actually favor Skeens as far as selling tickets, but at the same time, if you're Pittsburgh, do you want him risking it and throwing a couple of innings of extra adrenaline and this guy wanting to show off? I'll never forget at Fenway in 99, Pedro going out there and striking out like 7 out of 8 guys or 7 out of 9 guys. How many guys he faced? Blew them away. He hurt his shoulder. Doing that. So you never want guys to go out there and try to overexert themselves after they've had a rough 3-month start to the season. This guy came up from the minor leagues, has been very impressive, throwing 100-mile-an-hour smoke, aspirin tablets, if you will. This is the 3 or 4 days where you could say we can get this guy a bullpen, get him some rest, and he may not want to go. I just saw pictures of him and his girlfriend. I mean, they're both big on social media. He was with the girlfriend on the river around Pittsburgh. What do they have, like 33 bridges or some crap? They were in the back of a boat being photographed. Maybe this guy wants a few minutes off and take care of business and rest himself up. Maybe he's going to pop the question.
We'll see. We'll see tonight who makes the finals for the All-Star game.
All right, when we come back, Ben's got some information here and some baseball cards.
It's
where
summer.
He wants to play Quiz the
All
Dibs.
right.
Now we're getting into the months where we get to try to pick we need content. We need to pick my old brain.
Yeah.
Well, it's coming up next, so hold on for Quiz the Dibs, 1990 Score Select Series in his possession on the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell on your afternoon drive on Fox Sports Radio.